Imagine that you are on a long expedition. You've been traveling through a strange country for weeks. You've passed through several villages on the way. Every time you hit one of these villages, it's this breath of fresh air. You get clean water, you get food, you get a warm place to sleep for the night, and smiling faces as you continue on the next day. As you go through your journey, you come to a fork in the road, and there's another traveler. They've come from a different direction, but your paths are together going forward, and you decide to join up and support one another as you go. Not long afterwards, you come to a rise in the path and see a village on the trail before you. You get so excited. This is just what you've needed to get you through this long and hot day. As you look back to share the exciting news, you see that your companion is standing in terror. The color has drained from their face. They're automatically looking for where they can bolt into the bush on one side of the trail or another so that they can avoid this village. You feel frustration. Why is this person trying to avoid this good thing? And it's only after an hour of arguing about what to do next that you fully realize that while they've been on a journey similar to yours, there's been one key difference. In every village that they've come to, they've been beaten, they've had things stolen from them, they've been spit on and forced out with less than what they came into the village with. When you realize this, you and your companion both know that you have more information to be more successful now than you did before you came together and before you uncovered what those differences were. And today when we talk about valuing differences, that's really what we mean. We need leaders who are able to enter those conflicts with curiosity rather than frustration. To say, why do you have a different perspective here? Help me understand what's going on, what experiences you've had, what you see that I'm not seeing that's going to help our team succeed. Study after study showed that diverse teams make better decisions than teams that are similar. It could be in thinking style, it could be in race, ethnicity, gender, even where we grow up. When we have diverse teams, they perform better. I want you to think about that for a minute. I want you to think about your own personal purpose. What is it that you get out of bed to do? How do the people that you surround yourself with and that you engage with on a team help you fulfill that purpose? What's the purpose of your team or organization? What are you trying to accomplish together? Is it important? If so, you want to be able to quickly understand and value the different perspectives, cultures, and experiences of your team members so you can move forward as effectively as possible. All right, so how do we do this? Well, there's a couple different steps. The first is just navigating differences. How do you navigate differences? First, you understand your perspectives and that your perspectives are unique. They have to do with who you are, where you grew up, what your culture is. And once you identify your own culture and the own perspectives that you bring to the table, you're then able to explore how your differences might create assumptions that are helpful or not helpful in your journey forward. Really just admitting that you carry assumptions with you that are different than assumptions that other folks might come into the room with is a great first step in navigating differences. The next thing is just doing the work of being curious. If you are able to build that habit of instead of reacting to someone who you might have in the past thought, oh, they're trying to slow us down. They're just afraid. They don't understand. I don't know why they think that. Instead of saying, oh, this person's slowing me down, if we can really embrace that moment as a moment of discovery and say, help me understand that. Please explain that to this team. Then that's going to really help you navigate differences of opinion and help your team be more successful. So the next step, rather than just navigating diversity and differences of opinion and valuing those differences, is to really become a leader or a facilitator who helps teams not only understand that there are differences and that there's value in differences, but really helps accelerate the best decisions possible. And you do that by doing a few things. The first is really reconsidering your role whenever you step into a room with a client, whenever you step into a team meeting with your team, whenever you're having a conversation with someone that you're in a relationship with, right? Instead of viewing yourself as the savior, as the person who has the right answers that the other people need, if you view yourself instead as the facilitator to help emerge the right decisions and the best knowledge from the group, that's a game changer, right? When you really understand that this team can be smarter than the smartest person in the team, it's going to be a game changer for the way that you lead and the way that you facilitate. The second way that you can really push forward performance is thinking about creating the biggest in-group possible. So human psychology is kind of strange in a lot of ways. And one of the weird things is that we automatically assign everyone that we come into contact with into a couple groups. Either they're in an in-group with us, so they're more like us, or they're in an out-group. There's been all sorts of tests that show that even in as little as 300 milliseconds in seeing someone, you have identified if they're in your in-group or their out-group. And if they're in your out-group, you're going to have less natural empathy towards them, which means you're going to listen to their ideas less, have less patience for them, and see their perspective as less important and valuable than your own or than others that you perceive to be in your in-group. So as a leader, we can hack this a little bit and create the largest in-group possible. How clear can we get on the shared purpose of the team that we're leading or facilitating? The more clear we get and the more compelling that shared purpose is, the more inclusive it is so that everyone can buy into it, then people start to see each other as co-members of an important in-group rather than folks who have come from different out-groups to try and maybe just do a transactional thing together. And then the last thing is not just giving space for different opinions, not just being curious about different opinions or perspectives, but amplifying those perspectives. You know, a wise and mature leader will look for the folks whose voices are not as strong, and they'll amplify those. And it's not just creating space by, hey, Joe, what's your thought on this? What do you think? It's really saying, hey, I haven't heard from you, and I think your voice is really important to this conversation, and I think the whole group needs to really hear, what your perspective is. And maybe they give a quick answer, and you say, hey, I think I hear what you're saying, but I don't know if I quite understand it. Can you give us even more context on that? The best leaders and facilitators who can take all of those different perspectives, get them on the table, and really do the work of allowing people to think, process, and begin to perspective take of folks who aren't like them, the more successful and effective you can be. So we're all on an exciting expedition, wherever that is in your life, wherever your journey's leading you. My guess is you have other people who have joined up with you on a project, in an organization, in a family, right? Folks who are going the same direction as you. But you're going to come across barriers. You're going to have problems to solve where your unique perspectives are very important to get on the table and talk about if you're going to fulfill your purpose as effectively as possible, and if you're going to make change for your organization, for your team, or for your client. So go out there, be curious, and do the work of perspective taking and then amplifying perspectives that are different from your own so that everyone can benefit from the best perspectives from across the whole spectrum of the way that people experience and live and see the world that we're in. Have a great day.